Unfortunately, I started this live at the exact moment that a big loader was going by me. Oh my goodness. What are the odds? What are the odds? Look at that. Well, I've been thinking all morning, now it's afternoon. I need to go for a walk for my sanity. I felt so good the other day after I went for a walk. And it's a little chilly, but it's beautiful. The sun is a little bit out. So, hey, I don't know if anyone will join me, and that's okay. I am on a walk for my own sanity. I wrote a blog this morning, and it was pretty provocative. It was about manipulators. It's too cold to talk. It's about escaping manipulation. When you have people in your life, maybe they're even in your family or friends or acquaintances, someone at work, or even on social media. Could be somebody you don't even really know. Ugh. These vehicles. I need to find a lonely, deserted path, like Scott did this morning with escaping the suburbs, his channel. He was on a great looking walk in Florida. It was a beautiful trail. And oh, it's my wonderful mother-in-law. Hey, Christine. It's Rod's birthday tomorrow. Been thinking about you guys. So I was just out for a walk, and I was thinking about my blog post. It was like so hard to write that I was kind of shaking afterwards. Oh, guess what? We not only had a loader, I don't know if you can see that. We not only had a loader and a town truck flying by, but now we have a helicopter. I may have to restart this. I don't know what else could come. Maybe a drone, or who knows. Simply Debbie Sue. Hi. Hey. I'm not sure who that is, but you're welcome. I'm just out for a little walk, and I thought I would take you with me. I was talking about writing a blog post this morning. Oh, the truck came back. Good Lord. I'm not going to get a word in edgewise with all this traffic. It's so annoying. I smiled at him. Good thing he didn't hear what I could say. He couldn't hear what I was saying. But I was writing a blog post about manipulation, and it sounds kind of harsh, I guess, but I was thinking about how many times in my life I have been prey to manipulation, and I am not so trusting anymore. Let's just put it that way. I'm not very trusting. At least I'm trusting at first, but I kind of look for the fruit, right? I look for the actions in a person's life, the behavior. People can say anything, but how they act is a totally different story. And I'm just struggling with a specific situation right now where I can see that kind of vulnerable people in my life are being manipulated really strongly. So I was thinking about Lord of the Rings and Grima Wormtongue. Do you remember that part with King Theoden, King of Rohan? And they come in, the Fellowship of the Ring members, they come into his castle, and he's there on his chair, a shadow of his former self. He just looks ancient. He can barely open his eyes. He's not focused on anything. His hair's all white. He's pale and pasty. He looks like, he's just about to pass away. And beside him is Grima Wormtongue, this kind of evil-looking fella who's whispering in his ear what he should think and how he should react. And man, that's so similar. And I love that part of the movies where King Theoden kind of comes back to life, where Gandalf the White reveals himself and figures out that Saruman is behind this, and that King Theoden is kind of being taken over, right? Almost like possessed by this evil, and he gets rid of it. And then you get to see the king slowly. His color returns, and he comes back to himself in his right mind. And it's such a satisfying scene. And so that's my prayer for these people in my life that I see being manipulated so strongly. And I remember different times in my life when I was under powerful manipulation from others that I really couldn't see it. And if anyone told me about it, I would have not agreed with them. I would have said, well, I know what I'm doing. But I did not know what I was doing. So some of the things that came to mind when I was thinking about writing about the power of manipulation was how manipulators will mirror you. If you tell them a sad story about your past or, something you're struggling with, they listen intently and they'll mirror it. However you react, they will react. They will believe the same things you believe, and they will identify with your story really strongly so that you feel bonded to them. And I've watched this happen. This kind of, oh yeah, that happened to you. Man, that happened to me too. And no one understands you like I do, right? That's kind of what you'll hear if someone's trying to manipulate you. No one understands you like me. Let's see. We can hear you. Oh, thanks, Debbie. Sue, would love to take a walk with you. I don't know. Well, I don't care. I'm in Canada, so the only ice we've got going on here is that ice. The ice I'm walking on. Yes, this is true, Pam. It's always scary doing a vertical live. This is my second one I've only done. And so I know that I don't have any mods and randoms can just kind of hop into the chat. And I can't see super well because of the glare of the sun. So if it gets to be an issue, I'll just stop. It's all good. But yeah, the other thing, besides mirroring, kind of reacting to things like you do, liking the same things you do, it will bond you to them because you'll be like, oh my goodness, this person, finally someone understands me. Finally, someone likes the same things I do. The other thing they'll do is flattery. So sometimes we're insecure, right? Sometimes we have weak spots, and manipulative people can pick up on that really quick. Like, oh, she's insecure about that. And they'll praise you, flatter you, make you feel good about yourself. And that's a powerful draw, right? So The other thing is they'll kind of be really close to you. So like in Lord of the Rings with Grima Wormtongue and King Theoden, he's right beside him, right? He moves into the castle, takes up residence, sits right beside him on the throne and whispers in his ear, telling him what he should be doing, what he should be saying. But the truth of who he was set him free from that, right? And so it's always been a really powerful scene for me. And sometimes when I see people whispering and manipulating others, I think of that scene. Anyway, that's what was on my mind. So I just wanted to go for a little walk because it is actually really quite, I don't even really need a toque, but I didn't want to need one and not have one, you know what I mean? So I thought I would just go for a little walk and process some of this. This happens every time I write a blog post, especially if it's kind of a tough one. It's a little bit harsh. I immediately want to take it down. I immediately think, oh my goodness, this is trash. I am such a fool. I need to take this off the internet immediately. And I have once in a while, I have done that, but I'm just gonna let the chips fall where they may, and hopefully maybe some of the verses I put on there about flattery or the what's it called? Hi, Amber. Welcome. You're not late. You're right on time. I just started it willy-nilly because I wanted to go for a walk. But I also wanted to finish my blog post, so I was just processing that, talking about manipulative people and how to recognize them. And they can do so much damage. That's the sad thing about it, is there are always consequences. So like, even if you recognize that someone's manipulating you and you kind of remove yourself from them and put some boundary lines in place, maybe you just stop talking to them quite as much. There's always consequences. And, thankfully, God makes all things new and he can redeem the time. So it's not hopeless, but there are always consequences. So I talked about manipulation and how people can mirror you. They flatter you. And they also, it's this thing called familiarity. They kind of become like family. And family is awesome. I mean, I love my family. I love my extended family. I love my husband's family, who's also my family. But someone who's trying to really manipulate you, they will try and put themselves in a position where they're kind of like your family. And it's too close. It's an abnormally close relationship with someone who's not a relation. And it's hard to see through the smoke screen. Speaking of smoke screen, there's like a bunch of, probably can't see, but there's a bunch of brush piles being burnt over here, and there's a lot of smoke, so interesting. Yeah. It's hard to see through that smoke screen of flattery and you're amazing, and there's, you really get me, you understand me. I think we've all been taken in by a conniving type of manipulator at some point in our lives. And it's not a really fun subject to talk about. But I often think, as a high school teacher, why don't they teach this in schools? I mean, if I'd had even the slightest lesson, understanding. Think of the dangerous situations I would have avoided, the dangerous people, because I was like such a target. I just believed everyone. I remember when I was working at the youth detention center a long time ago, when I was like 21, and I remember when I realized one day that some of these young inmates, young teenagers, were lying straight to my face. And I was so shocked. I was unbelievably shocked because I just never thought that that was possible. Like realizing how people can bald-faced lie. I just remember that being a huge shock. It was a good splash of cold water on my naivety. This might get too loud because this is a new thing. When I went for a walk here like 2 days ago, this was not happening. There's a bunch of construction going on. Well, that's okay. I'll turn around. Tell me, on a scale of 1 to 10, how annoying is it to hear all of the machinery in the background? Oh, Simply Debbie Sue, I'm listening to this, Pam, because I'm dealing with someone like this. Oh, are you? Wow, I'm so glad you're here. It is a very tough situation to be in. Even when you know you're being manipulated, it's really tough, especially if it's someone that's close to you and you're realizing that you might lose the relationship. But the thing is, when you've recognized that someone's manipulating you, you've already lost the relationship. That's the hard thing. It's really tough. Because even though you may not have recognized it yet, if they've been using you, manipulating you, lying to you, deceiving, underhandedly, subtly trying to influence you, using your own wants and needs and sense of self-worth against you, they're not your friend. Even if they're family, they're not your friend. And that hits hard, right? And I think as Christians, like I'm a Christian, I'm not saying you should be necessarily, but as a believer in God, reader of the Bible, there's a lot about forgiveness. There's a lot about second chances. That's basically what the gospel message is about, right? Second chances. So we're kind of taught from a young age to forgive, to overlook. There's a time for that. And there's a time to say no more. There's a time to protect your peace and set up a good boundary. Hi, Julie. You love my hat. I got it in Jasper National Park, so it's special to me. And it somehow happens to kind of match my scarf, which is from, I think, Ireland. My daughter went on a school trip when she was a teenager, and she bought me this and brought it back. And I'm going to have to ask her where she got it. It might have been in Edinburgh. I'm also really gullible. Yeah. I wish they taught such human interactions in school. Okay, thank you. It's not too noisy. A national park, yeah. A train, Is that a train? There is a train. There is a train. Pretty close by. But beside me, there's a field that used to just be a field and a bunch of trees. And in the last couple days, some crazy stuff has happened. I suddenly can see the highway from here. They have logged the whole thing off and are actively working up the ground just in the last couple days. I don't know if you can see it. Probably not. The sun is kind of bright. Anyway, you heard the train. Yeah, you know how it is with trains. When they're close to you, you kind of forget, or you just forget they're there. Like your brain sort of tunes them out. It's strange. When we first moved to the little town called Three Hills where we lived before, there was a train that went through town at 3 different points, and it would whistle loudly at every juncture, at every point. And when we first moved there, I thought, oh my goodness, I am never going to sleep again. I am never going to get used to this. But I did. Okay, how long have I? 20 minutes. I should probably not be on. What's the best time to be on a live? Well, just talking about, manipulative people and how to deal with them. And the best thing that's worked for me, there's been a lot of sorrow, a lot of grief, a lot of regret, a lot of not hatred maybe, but frustration. I'm going to turn around just because it's getting really loud now. But once I've recognized it now, I will put some distance between me and the other person. So I will recognize when they're trying to reel me in, let's say a text or a photo they send. The latest situation where I realized I was being manipulated, it came suddenly when the person sent me a picture of Anna Green Gables. And I said, oh, I love Anna Green Gables. And the reply was so telling. The reply was, I know. Just a simple text back, I know. And then the rest of the texting went on. And it suddenly hit me that this person was using things that they knew I liked or would resonate with. Maybe they'd send me a podcast they'd think I would like, something that would get me upset, riled up. And I realized they're just using those things to get me on the phone, to get me, close to them. I need to go, unfortunately. Oh, bye, Julie. Thank you for stopping in. I live right next to the train tracks and actually got used to the train when they ran by here. Oh, they don't come by anymore, but may start back. I might have to get used to it again. Yeah, that was nice of Julie to pop in. So, yeah. Debbie Sue, if you want to put in the chat anything that you've learned about manipulative people or anything about, you feel free to, but don't feel like you have to either. But yeah, just that moment of kind of realizing not everyone who influences you, who tries to get your attention, is a manipulator. And honestly, as well, we're all a bit manipulative, I think. We all learn from a young age, as babies even, how to get what we need. And learn how to persuade people. So it's kind of like a natural human behavior. Sorry, I keep licking my lips because I had this protein peanut butter thing, and I shouldn't have, but I was hungry. I don't know. I forget what I was saying now. You have to remind me. Just how learning how to manipulate, influence, persuade people is a natural human behavior. We're all kind of wired to do it. But what I'm talking about is the evil narcissistic manipulation. The type of manipulation that is designed to use you and leave you. Get what they can from you and move on. And I think it's one of the most destructive human relationships, human behaviors that I've experienced. And I think, like I was saying, if there was some kind of lesson about that in school, it would be so helpful to know what kind of behaviors to avoid, to know when someone is mirroring you, to know when someone is dangerous. Because, man, I have been so gullible, and it's taken me a long time, decades to figure that out. So it's just kind of something that's close to my heart. Well, I feel better already. A little bit of sun on the face. It's not quite as icy because it's been melting like crazy out here. which in some ways is wonderful, and in some ways it's not good for my husband's work. They don't have a lot of work right now, and so things are really slow. So he's praying for snow, and I'm not going to selfishly get in the way of that. They don't come by any... Oh, that was the train. Well, I think that's all I really wanted to talk about. I just wanted to say hi, go for a little sanity walk, and just talk about that topic, manipulation, and maybe I'll do a more formal video about that, and just what I've learned. But yeah, on a lighter note, how are you guys doing? How are you doing today? Write the book. Oh my goodness, yeah. I never thought about writing a book about that, but I probably could. Man, I've been in some awful situations. And partly is like, I'm gullible, I don't know when I'm being manipulated, but I'm also there's fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. I freeze or fawn. And I didn't learn boundaries. I didn't learn how to say no. I didn't learn to use my voice for a really long time. And I think that kind of builds up a lot of resentment sometimes, and even anger when you realize how you've been silenced. I have to get over a bit because we have another Alberta truck. This is what they all look like, these kind of, I'll try and show you. It's kind of big. Big, dirty, raised up things. I'm an Alberta girl, but I'm not. In some ways, don't quite fit in. You will find so many people will relate. Yeah, I think you're right. I think that it's something that I used to do a lot of research on it, and over the years, just learning, watching videos, and mainly reading articles. Oh my goodness, there's a lot of traffic all of a sudden here. Next time I'll go to the park or somewhere there's not everybody and their dog. Driving, this road is just for me to walk on, I don't know what people are doing thinking they can drive on it. But yeah, lots of people relate. Learning a lot about manipulation and trying to put it into words, trying to figure out how to recognize it, and just deal with it. So with this one situation I'm talking about, where the person was sending me things that they knew that I would really resonate with, and that's totally fine for someone to do that. I've sent that to people before too. Oh, look at this, I know you love this. But it's different when you suddenly hits you that they're sending it to you, not because they care about you, but because they're trying to get you to bite. They want to get you to bite the hook, and then they'll reel you in. And that's a different feeling, right? It's like people who love you and care about you, they care about how they make you feel. And yeah, that's an awful feeling, just to realize, man, I thought this person cared about me and was sending me these things because they love me, or they wanted me to enjoy this thing, but they're just doing it so that I will get into a conversation with them. And that's the other thing that I was writing about, was that closeness aspect. So once, a manipulator has you hooked in, once they've flattered you, mirrored your stories, your behavior, kind of become like a clone of you, it's almost like you're not in love with, but I guess in a spousal situation, but it's like you fall in love with yourself, right? And I think that's just human nature. Like we're kind of that way. But the relational aspect is kind of like with Wormtongue and King Theoden. He set himself up right beside the throne and talked to him, and intercepted anyone else that might want to talk to him, told him what he should think. And that kind of thing, when someone gets like super close to you and they don't really let you think for yourself, or if you find yourself separated from other people that used to be close to you, like if you're trying to figure out where your friends went, or you're trying to figure out why you haven't seen a family member in a long time, sometimes it's because this manipulator is getting between you and them. And these voices in our ears, it can come from real people, but like I was saying at the start, it can also come from media, messages, narratives, things that we listen to. So I just really been impacted by the fact that we have to be really careful what voices we're listening to. And even if they seem good, you have to evaluate it. In my case, the plumb line, I evaluate things based on the Word of God. And if it doesn't line up, then I might still interact with that person or that podcast or that, creator, whatever. But I'm not going to let them be the closest drumbeat that I hear, if that makes sense. Yeah. Hello. Yeah. So I think I will go now. Thank you for coming on some of my walk with me. And I'm really glad that it resonated with you, Debbie Sue. I hope whatever situation you're dealing with, that you have clarity and peace and a path forward. And like in my case, I had to just create a distance between myself and that person by not responding, not reacting in the way that they wanted me to. And then when I stopped kind of taking the bait, they moved on to another pond. Let's keep using this fishing analogy. Mrs. Creel, I have a friend who is a freezer and my mom is a fawner, and it's hard to watch them not be able to stand up for themselves. You're doing great to be aware. Oh, thank you. I'm aware. I still can't not do it. I still catch myself fawning, freezing, especially if there's conflict. I don't do well. So I want to be stronger. I want to stand up and say what I believe and have an opinion about things, but I usually just fawn, which is like, deer in the headlights. That's a dangerous thing to do when you're a young woman in the world, that's for sure. Especially when you're 1,000 miles from home. Thank you, Debbie Sue. I am working through it. I am doing the same as you. Oh, that's good. Yeah, it's a long process sometimes of recognizing, evaluating, because you kind of can second guess yourself sometimes. You're like, is it me? Am I the problem? But I think like looking at behavior, and then also just when you put some distance, if you don't respond anymore in the way that the person wants you to, how do they react to that? That can be really telling. And just protecting yourself, protecting your peace, your finances. Here comes a car. Your family members. Yeah. So, yeah. You have any last things you want to say? Feel free. I know I don't really know what I'm doing yet with these, which is why I didn't say my last one. I kind of went on a bit of a rant against some of the neighborhood dogs that were barking too. So I was like, I better not save that because people might think I'm being incredibly rude. So maybe I'll save this one. We'll see. It's probably a bit bouncy because I'm walking. Okay, have an awesome day. I hope you can enjoy a little outdoors where you're at, or just enjoy some peaceful creativity, maybe some art. Fridays are my creative days, and sometimes it doesn't work out. But this Friday is beautiful because I got to exercise this morning, I got to write my blog, I got to go outside, and I have this wonderful feeling of like, I don't know what I'm gonna do next. Probably should get some groceries, figure out what I'm having for supper. It sounds like I'm kind of lazy, but usually I'm more busy, so I'm just really relishing having less to do, having less demanding, urgent things on my time. Nobody called me to babysit today. That's miraculous in and of itself. I sound like such a bag. I love children, okay? I love my little nieces and nephews to death. Like, they're just the best. But sometimes I just need to be on my own and do my own thing. Have a great weekend. Yes. Goodbye. Goodbye.